We all want to raise confident children, but we often miss the most important foundational thing. Whether you are a parent, a grandparent, want to have children, working with children, this video is for you. Confidence is often judged on the outside. How well is this child doing, right? Are they getting good grades? Are they well behaved? Are they doing well in sports and recreation and activities? But what about on the inside? Mental strength is about what's going on in the inside. There are so many children showing up, performing, but on the inside are overwhelmed, anxious, and really struggling with maybe some negative dialogue. My name's Dr. B. I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner. I have raised 7 children, 2 biological, 5 adopted. I have experienced every parenting struggle. One of my children was catastrophically ill. Another with the same disorder with seizures and some developmental delay. I had some PTSD, reactive attachment disorder, in my family. So not only do I have those professional degrees to have this conversation, but being the parent is the most difficult. So my first advice is, can the child think through their problems? Can they think through how they feel? If you ask your child, what are you feeling? Say there's something going on, they got upset at school. Could you say, how does that make you feel? Or what are your thoughts? And your child could verbalize what's going on the inside. We often say, well, the teacher did this, or this kid did this, and then we go into fight mode as parents. Well, I'm going to go talk to the teacher, or I'm going to go talk to the parent of the other child, right? But what about how your child is feeling on the inside? That is the first step to mental strength, is being able to recognize how you feel. So remember, I told you I was going to tell you what the number one foundation is? It's you. Can you describe how something makes you feel? Let's use that same example. Maybe a kid bullied your child at school and you reacted and you wanted to protect your child, right? Could you stop and verbalize how that makes you feel? Were you afraid? Oftentimes we go to, I was angry, I'm angry on this injustice. Anger is always a secondary emotion. It's probably fear or hurt that is underneath that anger. So the number one foundation in your child's mental strength, or the children that you're working with, let's say you are a teacher. Are you modeling, can you think through your problems? Can you think through how you feel, your thoughts? There is a link in the description that gives a child worksheet that is Think, Organize, Choose. And this is the foundation of the Mentally Strong method. This is the foundation of mental strength. Can we think? We think we can think. We often, think through things, but are we able to go to that next step of efficiency, and can we organize? So my second advice to you is being able to organize. So teaching children to organize those thoughts rather than react to thoughts and feelings and things that happen around them. So in the Mentally Strong method, we have a children's version and an adult version, and there's between 5 and 10 categories in which we organize things. And there is overlap there. One of the things that we often talk about is negative self-talk, right? And are we stopping to ask our children those internal thoughts? And I can tell you, one of the reasons I feel confident in teaching these things is I did a lot of things wrong. So now as a grandmother, I'm trying to be better, show up better, help my grandchildren think through things, organize them. But when a child says something like, well, I'm not smart, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm something negative, that is our opportunity to help them find that internal confidence. What we want to say is, oh my God, no, you're not. And then we try to externally change their mind. And that, it doesn't work. We have to encourage them. Well, that is a negative thought. And the more you believe it, the more it's going to impact your mood and how other people see you. How could you reframe that? So let's say that I'm not smart. Let's say they came home with a bad grade and they're like, I'm not smart. Let's reframe that. What makes you think that, right? That's the thinking part. And then organizing and reframing that negative thought. Maybe it's, I have trouble with numbers. I can't do this math. Again, negative, but can you change it to, I'm really good in English. I love reading. And math may be my challenge, but I can do whatever I put my mind to, right? See how that is, that completely reframes in a truthful way. Oftentimes, as parents will go, oh, no, of course you're smart. Of course you're smart. But life is showing them that they're not measuring up, right? Because it is true. We do have to perform at a certain level, whether it's in school, whether it's at our job, right? So we're teaching them how to take criticism and reframe it. What are you good at? Some things may be difficult, but you can overcome. You can learn if you never give up, right? So remember, what is the number one foundation for raising mentally strong kids? It's, are you doing that for yourself? So in the kids' mentally strong method, we have 5 categories: trigger, grief, anxiety, negative thoughts, behaviors, and worry. We have those same categories in adult, right? Are you able to talk positively to yourself as the adult in this relationship? And so the number one foundation is, are you able to think through your problems and then organize them? And then the last piece of advice is choice. This is where the power comes in. We often react to our environment, right? So back to the story of the kid comes home and tells you someone's bullying them, and you react, right? You get angry, you get upset, you want to call the school, right? You're modeling reaction. So if we could both take a step back and say, let's think through how this makes us feel. So you can share with your child how it makes you feel that someone's bullying someone that they love and that you want to protect. But let's talk about how you feel as the child, right? And then help the child organize it, you organize it, and then you guys make a choice together. I'm not saying you don't go and address it with the school or whatever needs to happen, but not in reaction. Let's show our children how to think through things. Like, how does it actually make us feel? Why are we reacting? And the power comes in the choice. We're going to choose not to let that bully define how we feel about ourselves, right? Back to the negative self-talk. This is our opportunity to empower our children of how would you, talk to yourself. What would you say? Like, try to get the child to come up with what is the positive opposite of that negative, that they can really believe. Because if you start pouring in, you react because you're trying to protect them, and then you kind of pour in these positive affirmations that you believe about the child. But if the child isn't coming up with the idea, it's not going to stick. It's not going to become a part of who they are. So if we can actually learn to think, organize, and choose for ourselves, and then model it very specifically for our children. And I want to take a moment to tell you that my intent is not to tell a parent that they're not enough, that they're not doing it right? We hear enough of that. The intent of this video is to empower you to show up for your child, to live in mental strength, so that your children and the children that are around you can have a model for that. Continue watching the mindset that gave me my life back, because I want to empower you to be mentally strong.